Welcome back to the Cosmic Awakening podcast. I am Makāula Nakae, a lifelong experiencer and ET contactee since 1990. I have a wealth of insights and stories to share from decades of lived experiences spanning spiritual, interdimensional, and extraterrestrial contacts. Cosmic Awakening Part 3, 2014's The First Contact, Beyond C5. Chapter 1, Whispers of the Ascended Masters. Episode 6, Deep Magenta Rose Cross. Upon returning home to Sammamish from my journey to Shasta, a small, vivid magenta rose greeted me on my front porch. Before my trip, it hadn't blossomed, and I hadn't even noticed it. While many large magenta roses in the backyard had either been devoured by wild deer or shed their petals after blooming, the miniature roses in the front garden continued to bloom unabated, untouched by the deer. Typically, petals would wilt and scatter, leaving a sad sight. But this mysterious rose remained preserved, dried yet intact. The saga of the enigmatic red roses traces back to 1998. The initial encounter occurred when an unseen messenger delivered a rose upon my move to my third condo in Honolulu. I recalled dozing off in a room far from the entrance, only to awaken abruptly to the doorbell's chime. Hastening to the door, I found a stranger, a fair-haired man in an explorer's cap, bearing a rose. This surreal awakening marked one of many out-of-body experiences I've encountered. Subsequently, with each relocation, a mysterious figure, unseen by ordinary eyes, would appear at my door, presenting a rose adorned with a ribbon. These visits occurred shortly after my move, sometimes days later, and occasionally even multiple times at the same residence. During one instance, a friend sleeping in the living room was roused by the doorbell's ring, yet I heard nothing substantial. In the summer of 2012, upon my return from Mount Shasta, I grasped the more profound significance of these mystical occurrences. Delving into research on the mysterious rose, I uncovered its connection to the Rosicrucian order linked to the Ascended Masters. This revelation shed light on the true nature of these encounters. While the Rosicrucian symbol has been intertwined with clandestine societies like the Freemasons and Rothschilds, it's vital to distinguish that these associations are not direct. Instead, they stem from attempts to comprehend the esoteric teachings and worldview of Rosicrucianism. Thus, while organizations such as Freemasonry draw from Rosicrucian ideology, they are distinct entities. The Rosicrucian ideology traces its roots to Christian Rosenkreutz, a towering figure of medieval lore purported to be its founder. In the early 15th century, Rosenkreutz embarked on a journey to the Orient, encompassing lands such as Turkey, Arabia, and Persia in the Middle East at the tender age of 16. It is said that during his travels, he acquired esoteric wisdom from venerable sages, with speculations pointing to Sufi or Zoroastrian mentors. Rosenkreutz's enigmatic persona is shrouded in mystical tales bordering on myth. Allegedly, his perfectly preserved body was unearthed in a concealed chamber 120 years after his passing, a discovery that only added to the mystique surrounding him. Later, mystics and occultists suggested that Rosenkreutz reincarnated as one of the Ascended Masters, known as the Count of Saint Germain, and subsequently assumed the guise of the renowned historical figure Francis Bacon, a notion that gained traction among believers. With his cryptic background, Rosenkreutz laid the groundwork for what became known as the Rosicrucian doctrine, culminating in the enigmatic appearance of a mysterious manifesto plastered on a wall in Paris in 1622. We, the deputies of the Higher College of the Rose-Croix, do make our stay, visibly and invisibly, in this city. A subsequent poster, emerging several days later, culminated with the following statement. The thoughts attached to the real desire of the seeker will lead us to him and him to us. The appearance of these two enigmatic posters on the streets of Paris ignited widespread intrigue and fascination with the Rosicrucians. The Rosicrucians, a select group known as Ascended Masters, have transcended earthly bounds through ascension. They do not exist as a conventional organization, nor can one become a member by traditional means like joining a club. Instead, those who earnestly seek spiritual truth and exploration may attract the attention of the Rosicrucians from the spiritual realm, akin to receiving a visitation. This encounter is not merely a casual visitation. It resembles an interview or an assessment, akin to gaining entry into a non-physical dimensional university, where one must complete spiritual examinations to progress. In the 18th century, Helena Petrovna Blavatsky emerged as a prominent figure, founding the Theosophical Society and propagating various religious and mystical ideologies, including Theosophy, Christianity, Buddhism, Hinduism, and ancient Egyptian religions. Her influence extended to numerous artists, including Russian composers Scriabin and Kandinsky. Madame Blavatsky espoused the concept of ascended masters, whom she encountered during her spiritual journey and who imparted wisdom to her. Among these spiritual guides was Kuthumi, who, according to Blavatsky, had reincarnated numerous times, assuming roles of historical significance such as the Egyptian philosopher Pharaoh Thutmose III, Pythagoras of Assisi, St. Francis of Assisi, Balthazar, one of the biblical magi, and Suha Johann. While researching Rosenkreutz and the Rosicrucian, I recalled another intriguing encounter. It was around the year 2000, and I found myself chatting with a local Japanese psychic friend at a bar overlooking Diamond Head. Amidst our conversation, a stranger in his late 30s approached us, initiating a discussion on spiritual matters. He mentioned he was studying under someone referred to as M. Intrigued, I queried if he was working for M. Surprisingly, he responded affirmatively, stating he served Mother. However, the M mentioned by him and the mother he referred to didn't seem directly correlated in my mind, sparking a peculiar curiosity about the enigmatic M. Despite this, I didn't delve further into the matter at the time, letting it recede into the recesses of my mind. Years passed, and I immersed myself in various download experiences associated with ascension and spiritual enlightenment. While exploring ancient Egyptian wisdom, I received insights suggesting that remnants of the lost knowledge of the Golden Pharaoh persisted among tribes residing near the Iranian border in the Middle East. Additionally, discussions with Tay, a psychic in Honolulu, hinted at the continued existence of teachings associated with them. According to Tay, these teachings were purportedly preserved by a small tribe inhabiting the Arabian desert of the Middle East. As I continued my research into Rosenkreutz and the Rosicrucian, I stumbled upon M. Rosenkreutz himself had encountered wise men in Darkem, present-day Yemen, where he immersed himself in Arabic, mathematics, and natural sciences. It's believed he translated the mystical book of M into Latin. Interestingly, this translation, distinct from his other works, was reportedly found with his perfectly preserved body, discovered 120 years after his demise. The letter M symbolizes mundus in Latin, signifying various concepts such as tools, women's jewelry, the universe, stars, earth, humanity's compassion, and the world's anguish. When we dissect the Rosicrucian symbol, numerous interpretations arise. The cross represents the human body, while the rose symbolizes latent individual consciousness. The rose embodies silence, while the cross signifies redemption. It signifies a spiritual rebirth following ascension. The rose and cross symbolize cosmic feminine and masculine aspects. It represents the alchemical achievement of the Philosopher's Stone, a symbol of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, emblematic of the Rosicrucian order within Freemasonry. Interpretations of the Rosicrucian symbol fluctuate with shifts in time and the nature of the organizations employing it. However, at its core, the symbol embodies salvation through enlightenment and eternal life. It symbolizes a call to service to foster love for humanity and awakening consciousness. This deep magenta rose, once presented to me only by mysterious beings during my out-of-body experiences, eventually began to manifest in physical reality. During my time living in Waikiki, I began communicating with the deceased grandmother of my roommate. To make a long story short, my roommate's mother, who lived in Osaka, sent us a peculiar photograph of a camellia in her garden. Inexplicably, a single flower had bloomed out of season, and even more strangely, its petals had transformed. They no longer resembled standard camellia petals, but had taken on the distinct, layered appearance of a rose. After I shared this strange phenomenon on my blog, I received another report from Chiaki, a previous roommate who has been privy to my ET-related experiences for years. She sent me a photograph from her own backyard in Sacramento, California, where a single deep magenta rose had mysteriously bloomed out of season, mirroring the exact same anomaly. Christians often say that God works in mysterious ways. Indeed, the Ascended Masters operate in much the same fashion, delivering these deep magenta roses as a sign to let us know of their existence. Upon our return from Mount Shasta, a tragic event occurred to my friend's family in Sammamish as the husband sustained severe injuries and was swiftly transported to the hospital with broken bones. He was unable to undergo immediate surgery due to medical constraints. Thus, I extended my planned 3-month stay to support and assist my friend and her family during this challenging time. As I began remote healing sessions for my friend's husband on July 12th, who was grappling with pain and discomfort in the hospital, peculiar occurrences unfolded. Despite his depleted energy and weakened state, his aura gradually lifted, imbuing his weary heart with much-needed vitality. Interestingly, flashes of light sparked within my mind, a phenomenon I had observed both before my journey to Mount Shasta and during my stay at the hospital following friend's husband admission. These flashes intensified upon my return home, particularly when I lay in bed. Following the commencement of remote healing, I experienced a resurgence of happiness hormones, a sensation reminiscent of past occurrences, typically abundant in the latter half of February. This unexpected upliftment was accompanied by a warm sensation in my heart, signaling the presence of the ascended masters. This warmth echoed similar experiences I had encountered amidst the serene forests of Mount Shasta and the enigmatic spheres of light observed near Portland, suggesting a profound connection to the realm of the ascended masters. The surge of happy hormones from my brain cascaded down to envelop my entire head, coursing through my neck, spreading across my back, and finally permeating my lower body, reminiscent of the sensations of early spring. However, this time, the diffusion felt somewhat sparse and uneven in certain areas, likely due to my diminished physical condition since the onset of spring. Previously, I had rigorously restricted my carbohydrate intake, opting for a diet primarily consisting of vegetables and beans with minimal meat consumption. Yet recently, I reintroduced modest amounts of meat and carbohydrates into my meals. For lunch on that particular day, I indulged in Mexican takeout beans rich in plant-based proteins, which could have contributed to producing happy hormones in my brain. As the euphoric vibrations coursed throughout my body, the illumination within my mind intensified, radiating a pure white light. Amidst my remote healing session, I directed these vibrations toward my friend's husband in the hospital ward. Additionally, I extended distant healing to those enrolled in my weekly remote healing sessions, caregivers who supported me daily, and a young girl in Seattle bravely battling leukemia. Despite my efforts to resonate with them, I eventually succumbed to unconsciousness, awakening to the sound of thunder and the patter of rain the following morning. The unexpected resurgence of these blissful vibrations served as a potential indication of the reemergence of ascension-related transformations that had lain dormant for some time, hinting at their impending return. Then, one morning, as I roused from sleep, I commenced my journeys to support the family. During this time, I distinctly heard a familiar male voice echoing in my mind, speaking in English. "You are still fragile." Upon hearing this message, its significance became immediately apparent to me. Over the past decade, I had never experienced such robust health as I did at that moment. However, the message wasn't about physical prowess. Instead, it emphasized the state of my energy body, light body, plasma body, and overall condition. From the perspective of beings existing in an ascended realm, it was clear that my psychic senses and healing abilities at that time were akin to those of an average human with a slight limp, while my own physical state remained delicate compared to that of the ascended masters. Before my journey to Mount Shasta, at the behest of a friend, I visited Seattle Children's Hospital to provide healing for a 14-year-old girl battling leukemia. Through these experiences, I realized that compared to the resilience of the ascended masters, human bodily resilience is vastly different. To be continued. Watch the cinematic video trailer. Explore the archive. Cosmic Awakening, Part 1, 1991. Peru, Journey into the Unknown Sacred Valley of the Incas. Part 2, Ascension 2012, The Golden Alchemy. Part 3, The First Contact. The World of ET Contacts, Beyond C5. Join the journey. New episodes drop periodically. Each chapter delivers a tight, hyper-focused 10 to 30-minute hit of real-life experiences, perfect for your daily plunge into consciousness exploration. Subscribe to support your inner development. Thumbs up to help push our channel through the algorithm. Comment below. Share your thoughts on today's exploration.